Start with a hard-hitting statement that grabs attention immediately. For example, most men think they understand women, but there are 7 hidden weaknesses almost no one sees coming, and missing them is costing you every opportunity you've ever had. Hint at the payoff of knowing these weaknesses. Master these, and you'll instantly see how influence, attraction, and control subtly shift in your favor without manipulation, just understanding. If you're noticing patterns already, hit like and subscribe because understanding these 7 weaknesses is just the start. Later, we'll show you how to respond effectively and gain leverage in any interaction. Emotional triggers are the silent levers that shape how people think, feel, and act, and understanding them is like holding the master key to human behavior. In the context of women, these triggers are deeply rooted in evolutionary biology, social conditioning, and personal experiences, which means they are often subtle, hidden, and highly effective without being obvious. Every reaction from a slight smile to a momentary frown is influenced by internal emotional triggers, and recognizing these patterns allows a man to predict responses, navigate interactions, and influence outcomes without confrontation. Emotional triggers can be activated by praise, attention, validation, or perceived neglect, and each one has a distinct intensity depending on context, timing, and personal vulnerability. For example, a well-timed compliment about competence or appearance can immediately increase receptiveness and openness, while criticism, even if minor or indirect, can create defensive walls that block connection. These triggers are not just about words. Tone, body language, and energy play critical roles. The way someone laughs, pauses, or shifts posture can indicate subtle shifts in mood that are tied to emotional triggers, revealing hidden states that words alone cannot convey. Recognizing patterns of these triggers allows a man to approach interactions with precision, knowing when to push for engagement and when to step back, making every move more strategic. They also reveal what someone values or fears most in social, romantic, or professional contexts. Emotional triggers are amplified in high stress or uncertain moments, making these moments opportunities to either connect deeply or cause withdrawal, depending on awareness and approach. Understanding them is not about manipulation in a negative sense. It's about awareness, empathy, and timing, allowing influence to feel natural rather than forced. A man who understands these triggers can create alignment, connection, and attraction almost effortlessly because he is responding to the underlying emotional currents rather than superficial behavior. Over time, noticing these triggers builds intuition, helping to anticipate reactions before they occur and creating a dynamic where interactions flow smoothly, trust develops quickly, and influence happens naturally. Emotional triggers are the invisible script behind actions, and mastering awareness of them transforms every encounter into an opportunity to engage intelligently, subtly, and effectively, giving clarity, confidence, and control in situations most men navigate blindly. Validation needs are one of the most powerful yet often overlooked drivers behind behavior, and understanding them gives a man a remarkable advantage in interactions because nearly everyone, especially women in social and relational contexts, has an innate desire to feel seen, heard, and appreciated. This need for validation is deeply wired into human psychology, shaped by evolutionary pressures to belong, be accepted, and maintain social harmony, but it manifests in ways that are subtle and sometimes unconscious. When a woman seeks validation, it is not always about words. It can appear through tone, body language, or even small gestures, like seeking approval for choices, sharing achievements, or checking for reactions to opinions. These moments are crucial because they reveal where her confidence wavers and where external reinforcement can have the strongest impact. Responding to this need intelligently means offering acknowledgement without overdoing it, providing recognition that aligns with her values and self perception while maintaining your own presence and authority. Ignoring or dismissing these validation signals can trigger withdrawal, defensiveness, or tension, whereas properly meeting them can foster openness, trust, and alignment quickly. Validation needs often surface in competitive or socially charged situations, when comparing oneself to peers, or when facing uncertainty about decisions. A man who notices these patterns can subtly reinforce positive behaviors or decisions, making influence feel natural rather than forced, and can guide interactions toward mutual satisfaction and understanding. Importantly, validation is not about flattery or manipulation. It is about observing, reflecting, and responding to the cues that reveal what matters most to her at that moment. By identifying when she is seeking acknowledgement through subtle signs like hesitation, repetition, or looking for reassurance, a man can provide the right feedback at the right time, creating a sense of connection and reliability. Over time, this awareness builds an intuitive understanding of emotional rhythms, allowing interactions to flow smoothly, reducing conflict, and increasing influence without ever appearing controlling. Validation needs are the silent signals beneath the surface, and mastering recognition and response to them equips a man with the ability to navigate relationships intelligently, fostering trust, attraction, and engagement in ways most men never consciously perceive or utilize. Predictable stress points are one of the most revealing and strategically important aspects of understanding behavior because they expose the moments when judgment falters, patience thins, and vulnerability becomes more visible. Everyone has situations that naturally create discomfort, anxiety, or tension, and for women, these stress points can be linked to social pressures, perceived threats, uncertainty, or the need for control in personal or relational contexts. Recognizing these stress points allows a man to anticipate reactions and respond with precision, not through force or aggression, but through understanding and subtle influence. Stress points often surface in everyday situations, during conflict, decision making under pressure, unexpected changes in plans, or moments of emotional intensity where habitual patterns emerge and defenses temporarily weaken. For example, when overwhelmed by criticism, social comparison, or unmet expectations, a woman may overreact, withdraw, or seek reassurance, and these responses are not random. They are predictable patterns tied to emotional triggers and prior experiences. A man who identifies these stress points can adjust his approach to either provide calm, reassurance, and stability, or use timing and communication to redirect energy in a way that favors alignment and influence. It is essential to understand that observing these stress points is not about exploitation. It is about awareness, allowing interactions to be navigated with empathy and intelligence. The subtleties are key. Changes in tone, posture, breathing, or micro expressions can signal that a stress point is approaching, giving insight into emotional and psychological states that words may conceal. Mastering this awareness builds a deeper understanding of behavior, allowing him to remain composed while others reveal more than they intend, creating opportunities to connect, guide, or influence naturally. Over time, recognizing predictable stress points develops an intuitive sense for timing, energy, and approach, making interactions smoother, more effective, and mutually respectful. Stress points act as windows into underlying emotional currents, and understanding them transforms the way a man navigates social, romantic, or professional dynamics, giving clarity, confidence, and subtle control in situations that often catch unprepared men off guard, allowing influence to happen almost effortlessly without conflict or overt effort. Social comparison sensitivity is one of the most powerful yet hidden drivers behind behavior because it taps into a deep, often unconscious need to measure oneself against others, evaluate status, and understand how one is perceived in the social hierarchy. This sensitivity is particularly pronounced in women, shaped by both evolutionary instincts to navigate alliances and competition, and social conditioning that emphasizes appearance, achievement, and relational dynamics. In practical terms, it means that choices, moods, and reactions are often influenced by how someone perceives themselves relative to peers, friends, colleagues, or even strangers. And these comparisons can trigger pride, insecurity, motivation, or defensiveness almost instantaneously. Small details like noticing how someone else is treated, observing attention or recognition given to others, or subtle shifts in social dynamics can strongly influence behavior, shaping decisions, openness, and receptiveness in ways that are not immediately obvious. A man who understands this sensitivity can navigate interactions with remarkable precision because he knows that certain gestures, words, or affirmations can amplify confidence and engagement, while missteps can provoke insecurity or withdrawal. Social comparison is not just about envy or competition, it also relates to validation, self esteem, and identity, meaning that observing responses to others provides a roadmap to underlying priorities and emotional states. Moments of social exposure, being in groups, witnessing praise or criticism, or comparing accomplishments are opportunities to notice patterns, understand triggers, and respond in ways that foster alignment, trust, and subtle influence. Recognizing this allows for a strategic approach, highlighting shared values, reinforcing strengths, or creating positive contrast without manipulation can make interactions smoother, more attractive, and more effective. Over time, awareness of social comparison sensitivity builds an intuitive understanding of relational dynamics, helping a man anticipate reactions, prevent conflict, and encourage openness. It becomes a tool to navigate social, romantic, or professional settings with confidence because the responses triggered by comparison are predictable once observed carefully, allowing influence and connection to happen naturally. Social comparison sensitivity is the invisible lens through which many actions are filtered, and mastering awareness of it gives clarity, subtle power, and an almost instinctive ability to engage effectively in complex human dynamics. Nonverbal cues are the silent language that communicates far more than words ever could, and mastering their interpretation is one of the most powerful tools a man can have in understanding hidden behavior. Every shift in posture, glance, micro expression, or tone carries information about emotional states, intentions, and reactions, often before a person is even consciously aware of them. In women, these cues are especially revealing because they tend to express subtle feelings, interest, discomfort, or attraction through body language more consistently than through explicit statements. A simple tilt of the head, a brief pause in speech, a tightening of the jaw, or a fleeting smile can all signal vulnerability, excitement, uncertainty, or receptiveness, and recognizing these patterns allows a man to respond intelligently, aligning his behavior to the moment in a way that feels natural and empathetic. Nonverbal communication also includes energy levels, movement pacing, and spatial awareness, which indicate comfort, confidence, or tension. And learning to read these signs provides an almost predictive insight into how interactions will unfold. Observing micro expressions, tiny, involuntary facial movements, can reveal hidden reactions to comments or actions, exposing preferences, dislikes, or emotional triggers that words may mask, giving an advantage in timing responses, offering reassurance, or guiding conversation. Body orientation, gestures, and touch cues further indicate engagement, interest, or distance, showing whether a person is open or guarded, while changes in breathing or eye contact can signal stress or excitement that can be leveraged for influence and connection. Understanding nonverbal cues is not about manipulation, it is about awareness and responsiveness, allowing interactions to flow with precision and empathy. Over time, noticing and interpreting these signals builds intuition, helping a man anticipate reactions, adjust communication style, and create alignment effortlessly, making trust and attraction more natural. Nonverbal cues are the unspoken narrative beneath every interaction, and mastering the ability to read them transforms understanding into influence, giving clarity, confidence, and subtle control in ways that words alone cannot achieve, allowing a man to engage effectively, predict outcomes, and navigate complex social and emotional dynamics with finesse. Confidence fluctuations are one of the most revealing aspects of behavior because they show when someone is at their strongest and, more importantly, when they are most receptive, uncertain, or vulnerable. Everyone experiences ups and downs in self esteem, and for women, these fluctuations can influence decision making, responsiveness, and social or relational engagement in ways that are subtle but predictable. Confidence isn't static, it shifts based on context, environment, feedback, and internal thought patterns, meaning that the way a woman reacts in one situation may differ dramatically in another, depending on how secure or validated she feels at that moment. These moments of low confidence are often accompanied by behaviors such as seeking reassurance, hesitating to assert opinions, over-explaining, or reacting strongly to criticism or comparison, while high confidence moments show as decisiveness, openness, relaxed energy, and assertive communication. Recognizing these fluctuations allows a man to adjust his approach strategically, offering support, guidance, or validation when confidence dips, and engaging collaboratively when confidence peaks, without ever appearing manipulative or overbearing. Timing is critical because responding to low confidence moments with patience and empathy can deepen trust and connection, whereas ignoring them or misreading cues can cause defensiveness or withdrawal. Confidence fluctuations are also linked to underlying emotional triggers and social comparisons, meaning that patterns can be observed and predicted once attention is focused on subtle signs such as posture, tone, eye contact, and decision-making speed. Over time, a man who understands these shifts develops an intuitive sense of when to step forward, when to provide reassurance, and when to create space, making interactions smoother, more effective, and naturally influential. Awareness of confidence fluctuations transforms engagement from guesswork into precision because it reveals the underlying state behind outward behavior, allowing him to navigate complex social, romantic, or professional situations with clarity and subtle authority. In essence, mastering recognition of these shifts provides an almost instinctive roadmap to influence, trust building, and connection, giving insight into not only what is said and done, but why it happens, and how to respond in a way that feels natural, empowering, and mutually beneficial. Loyalty and attachment triggers are some of the most potent forces in human behavior because they tap into deep emotional wiring that governs trust, connection, and long term alignment. These triggers are not always obvious. They operate beneath the surface, subtly influencing decisions, priorities, and responsiveness in ways that most men never consciously notice. For women, moments that activate loyalty or attachment are often tied to feelings of safety, consistency, appreciation, and emotional resonance, meaning that when these needs are met, openness and cooperation